Keigo Higashino is an award-winning author and one of the most prominent Japanese mystery writers of our time. He's written over 65 books, 13 of which have been translated to English. Novels, at least. He also has an essay and I think a collection of short stories, maybe in English. Today's novel is called A Midsummer's Equation and is part of the Detective Galileo series, which combines mystery and science in a really unique way. My name is Eric, and today let's unravel this mystery together. Unlike most of his other works, this mystery mainly takes place in a small coastal town rather than Tokyo. In this story, Galileo finds himself there for unrelated business before a man at the same hotel as him is found dead under mysterious circumstances. He quickly becomes embroiled in the lives of the innkeeper family and soon finds out that they may have motive to kill this guest to cover up another murder committed by one of their own years prior. It turns out Narumi, the innkeeper's daughter, killed a woman years ago in Tokyo who threatened to expose her family by revealing that her father is not actually her father. Her true father, a man named Simba, takes the fall for the girl and they move out of the city. Years later, the original detective comes to the inn to try to get Narumi to meet Simba now that he's out of prison and dying of cancer. However, before he really gets the chance to talk to her, Narumi's adoptive father kills him to keep their family secret safe. Throughout this book, Galileo uses the help of his friend Detective Kusanagi to provide necessary information from back home in Tokyo. The combination of both city and coastal living made the story a really fresh and dynamic read compared to his previous stories, which mostly take place just in Tokyo. Detective Galileo. I actually really enjoyed him a lot in this book, more than I ever have in any of his other books I've read so far. I think that Kyohei, who I loved, I thought he was like just a cute little guy. Um, Galileo taking him under his wing and getting him interested in science and math, I thought that really like humanized him as not just this like insanely untouchable smart guy. I was like, oh, he cares. Like he acts cool. I think a part of it is that he's just so intelligent. Um, and then that was kind of like the most important relationship I thought developed throughout this. Galileo and also Narumi, like how honest he was with her, and how I think he kind of saw things from her perspective as well as what was right in the law or whatever. I thought that was good. I wish that him and Kusanagi had more of a explanation on why their relationship has kind of gotten colder over time, but maybe that'll come in later stories. But in general, I really liked the development of Galileo, like the humanization of him in this story, because before I thought he was like this just god that came in and like solved the mystery like that, which he still kind of was, but at least he had some nice like character development and interactions with the other characters in this book that I hadn't seen in the other ones. And then speaking of Kyohei, when he woke up the day after doing the fireworks with his uncle, I thought that the way it was worded made me think that he had been drugged or something. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was like he woke up in his the aunt and uncle's part of the house and was like wondering how he got there, and then it turns out that that's the night that the man was killed. So I thought, ooh, the uncle like knocked him out somehow, so that he wouldn't be there when he killed the other guy, and that never really got brought up again. So I guess that's not what happened. I guess he just went in and passed out after shooting off fireworks. But in the moment, I was like, the uncle is so guilty because he knocked out his own nephew so that he wouldn't be a witness. And that's when I thought the uncle did it, and turns out that was right, but not for that reason. So I'm a detective who gets to the right conclusion, but by the wrong means. Let's talk about Detective Utsumi. I really enjoy her. I think it's refreshing that I feel like most mystery writers, male mystery writers, if they do have a female detective, she'll kind of be like kind of defer to the men, even though they might have a cool moment where they discover something in the end. And I feel like Higashino hasn't really had Utsumi do that. She has been helpful. She's stood her ground. She defers to like Kusanagi because sometimes he's her superior, but not in like an overly like I feel like feminine way. Same with how she deals with Yukawa. I think he respects her and doesn't see her as like the damsel in distress stereotype. So I was happy that she was back in this story and was able to make actual valid contributions. I know that she kind of sometimes just fields between Yukawa and Kusanagi when they're feuding or whatever, but I feel like she's given a spot more than that, where she's actually like a valid part of the team, and she's not afraid to play that kind of like feminine whatever to help her get what she needs. But I feel like it's not her like acquiescing to the male presence, which I think is refreshing as someone who's read a lot of mysteries. Um, Usually the more antiquated ones, well, even if they have like a pseudo girl power detective moment or character, it's still kind of like under the mask of, well, that's cool, but let's let the men handle the big stuff. So I really enjoy kind of her character arc and how she has made herself a real productive and important member of the team. One thing that I didn't love so much, that I guess depends on just which character you prefer, is that Kusanagi really didn't seem to do terribly much. Like, he almost could have been written out and just had Utsumi doing this stuff in the Tokyo area and Galileo doing this stuff down in the Cove. And I like the character Kusanagi. I know he doesn't have like the best personality, but I like the work he does, the way he like goes through an investigation. I think that's why he reminds me of Kaga, and I really liked the other series of Higashino that I've read, Detective Kaga. So I wish that he'd had more of a part, but I also understand it is like the Galileo series. So I think that he was trying to kind of diversify how the investigation went in his writing, but hopefully in the next book, there's more of like an equal feeling between the two. Do we think Tsukahara overstepped? The obvious answer would be he did, because he died. He got himself involved in this and it got him killed. But taking that out of the like equation, even if he had gone to her and like what was his potential outcomes? She would say, "Oh my gosh, I let me go see him. I'm packing my bags." She gets mad at him. There's a fight. It becomes a whole thing that blows up in his and Senba's face. He kind of tears a family apart. I just don't think he had really thought it through when he went, which it's kind of shown evidence in that he applied to go to the meeting kind of on the spot with Senba that one day. But I feel like there were several instances where he kind of got himself too involved, like actually staying at the inn. I thought was a little weird. I know it's a way to get close to them, but it almost came off in like a creepy way where he's like he knew something that they didn't, and then his little comments to Setsuko where he's like, basically saying, I know what happened. I was involved in that. Of course, not saying that he deserved to die for that, but I think that kind of the detective side of him wouldn't let it rest when, if he did, he could have saved a lot of people a lot of heartache and jail time. Sawamura pissed me off. I think it's really noble what he's doing. Um, but he was being a weirdo. Not just, I mean, him having a crush on Narumi, that's fine. Offering the job, that's okay, I guess. Um, I mean, I can get into some tricky, like, HR things, I think, in the future, but I'm sure that's not what the point of that was. My problem is him finding out that Tsukahara was dead and then being like, I'll help you hide the body because this will make the town look bad. Like, I just thought that was kind of a lame reason for him to get involved and for like a convenient way to get the body out of there. Um, I feel like he just has bigger fish to fry, so why would that be his first thought? And then to like go to all this trouble with the cover up and everything. I just felt like it was not a very realistic portrayal of how someone like him, like it seems like a very analytical, passionate person, would act in that situation. I think he would think, sure, this is going to affect the town, but I need to focus on the ocean and not worry about what this messed up family situation is doing at this inn. When it comes to Narumi and her two dads, Shigeharu I thought was interesting that he really like he knew that she probably wasn't his kid, but he still raised her as his own, and I think that there's something really powerful about that. But then it's like, are you taking that positive energy in a negative direction because he ended up then killing a man to cover it up? So it's like, I don't know, are you a good stepdad? Are you just a murderer? I don't. Clearly, he loved her, but I feel like he took that positive energy in a weird direction. And then for Senba, I thought it was interesting that Narumi is clearly so devoted to him. You know, she realizes that someone took the fall for her, and so she's kind of keeping the peace until he can get back to the ocean one day, as by her like um, blog post said. But then I was surprised, if she cared that much, why wouldn't they have kept tabs on like when he got out of prison, where he went, because she clearly hasn't seen him yet. And then at the end, Galileo kind of is like, "You should go see him," and it leaves on a cliffhanger. I choose to believe. Oh, there's my dog tank. I choose to believe that she did go see him, and they had a beautiful moment before he passed away. I'm just like, what made you decide now if you were going to or not? Um, so I hope that she did go see him, but I guess it's up for anybody's interpretation. Final thoughts. I liked it okay. I guess it depends on how you feel about Galileo and Kusanagi and their relationship. It was my favorite of the Galileo books I've read so far. I've read three. I liked the change in scenery, and I really liked Galileo's character development in dealing with other people, especially Kyohei. I thought it was really cool how he like took the little guy under his wing and got him interested in science. But I like the Detective Kaga series better so far, which is the other series by him that I've read all the way, all the American or English translations ones at least. But yeah, I will be reading the next. I think there's two more English of Galileo. I like them. I like the mysteries. I just don't really love sometimes the characters and like their decisions. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If anybody has any thoughts or has read the book, and I think next one I'll do is probably Silent Parade. See you then.